Okay.
All right, you remember it?
Mm-hmm.
Now, Mr. Piffles is going to attempt to find your card for you.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
It may look like he's sleeping right now. He's not. He's in a zen-like trance.
He's terribly good at magic, I hear.
Yeah, he's in a zen-like trance. We're going to pass the cards above the dog's aura. One of the cards rises all the way up.
We're all about turning a crappy situation into something positive.
$250,000 of credit
I
card debt.
still remember the day when no one turned up.
Throw it in the garbage and start from
I
scratch.
could give myself a chance, so I started something.
I mean, I think that counts as from poop to gold.
Hi, guys. Welcome back to From Poop to Gold. I'm Daniel Harmon, Chief Creative Officer at Harmon Brothers, and your host. And today, my guest is Piff the Magic Dragon.
Good evening.
Welcome, Piff.
It's not really evening.
It's not really evening. I was just going to say that. You beat me to it.
Yes.
Thank you so
I
much
could
for
see it in
coming
your
on.
eyes. Well, first of all, we've got a couple of elephants in the room to address.
Absolutely.
One is, I didn't bring the dog, much to everyone's disappointment.
I was pretty disappointed, but my kids will be incredibly disappointed.
Turns out you actually wanted to talk to the dog, didn't you? And you brought me along just to ensure his arrival.
It was our in.
So
Yes.
instead we have this available at piffthemagicdragon.com and the dog's dead. I mean, that's what I'm trying to say. The dog's dead. He's no longer with us.
And this one goes for how much?
What? $30.
$30.
No, Mr. Piffles is asleep at the moment. He spends about 25 hours a day sleeping.
Okay.
He
That's a
is
lot.
11
That's
years
like,
old
that's
now.
like more than a cat. Is he really 11
Yeah,
years old?
he's the OG. He's the only one. He's the original Piffles that
Yeah.
I got when I was in 2009. maybe?
Original model, no 2.0.
Correct.
My gosh.
And I got him
That's
when
a
he was
lot.
2 years old because he's a rescue dog,
Yeah.
which is cheaper.
Yeah, I heard about that.
They're
And
literally
so-
giving them away.
Where did you rescue him?
Scotland, Dundee.
In Scotland.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
But you're not from Scotland.
no, I'm
Yeah.
from Las Vegas, which is why I've got this Las Vegas twang.
Okay. We interview creators, entrepreneurs, marketers, and we're getting their stories of
Who?
kind of what
Creators.
marketers,
Yeah.
like in advertisers,
Yeah.
on entrepreneurs.
So which one am I?
I would say you're a creator, and an entrepreneur, and a marketer.
Oh, all three.
Which one would you say you are?
Magic Dragon.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Dragon that does magic.
Well, I think that kind of comes with the territory, right? So the dragon can do any of those things.
Yes.
Okay.
But really, what I want to do is do shows.
Yeah.
That's like what I want to do, and all the rest of it is just stuff that I have to do in order to do the shows.
Very cool.
So if I had a choice,
Uh-huh.
I would just walk on stage, walk off stage, and that would be that.
So you would just be just
Performer.
an entertainer, performer, boom, and done.
Done.
And the
Yeah.
rest of it you do out of necessity because
Yes,
that's just
correct.
that's part of the job.
There's a slight overlap, which is like this is a deck of Piff the Magic Dragon playing cards, for example.
Yes.
But that's that I get to, I can do magic tricks with these.
Yes.
So I thought, this is like a half and half. I was like, hey, I've got an idea for magic tricks, and I've got an idea for my own deck of cards. So like these cards, it's got like, instead of the picture cards, it's like me. Instead of the kings, it's me. Instead of the jacks, it's the dog. Instead of the queens, it's the princesses. So
Very
like,
branded.
right.
Very cool stuff.
So that's like, but not right. But that's what I'm saying is, I had the idea and wanted to do the idea, rather than needing to I need to sell 1,000 tickets today.
Yeah.
You understand the difference?
Yes, I do
that I'm
understand.
trying to
Yeah, you're
creator and marketer
there you go.
are different. Yeah.
That's very cool.
But yes, you're right. I have to do all three of them.
Yes. For those of you that don't know, Piff the Magic Dragon, you kind of hit the big stage, so to speak. America's Got Talent, right? Had a tremendous amount of success there up until...
I was a regular magician for many years. Mm-hmm. And I happen to be naturally grumpy. And it doesn't mean I'm not cheerful. It's just if you talk to me, you feel like I'm angry about something.
It's like my kids. They say that about me all the time. They're like, you always look like you have a scowl on your face, Dad. I'm like,
So you understand
thank you.
you
Yeah,
understand
I
my
understand where you're coming from.
resting grumpy face.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
We have the same disease.
Yes.
So I found magic when I was a kid.
Okay.
Decided I didn't want a job. like a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
So I thought I could do card tricks instead, and will avoid having to work for a living.
Yeah.
So I
'Cause
started
you'll
doing that.
Play for a living, right?
Exactly. So I started doing that, and then over time I started getting very good at the job,
Yeah.
the performing bit, but I couldn't get the work because I was too grumpy.
Yes.
So I would like turn up to a wedding and do card tricks, and people would say things to me, and I'd make jokes at their expense, and they'd all get upset and be like, "It's my big day, I'm marrying."
And it came across as a little too...
Like I was at a table once, and this woman said, "Oh my God, you're just like David Blaine," and I said, "Yes, but surrounded by far less attractive women."
Oh,
Now-
man. Sorry.
It's just not really a good thing to say.
No.
But that stuff used to come out of my face 24 hours a day.
I would imagine it still does.
Yes, but a more polite version of that.
Okay.
I mean, this woman had been a not very nice person to me up until that point at that table.
She had it coming, is what you're
She
saying.
had it coming.
Okay.
But, as much as I would work on that stuff, I realized that was not going to change.
Yeah.
So, one day, I went to a costume party. And I said to my sister, I don't have a costume to wear. And she said, "Hey, I got a dragon outfit under my bed." And I said, I don't need to know why. You're my sister. And I borrowed the dragon outfit and I went to a costume party. No one else was in costume. It was just me. Looking like this. So now I was appropriately grumpy for once.
Uh-huh.
I actually had appropriate grumpy face. And I was drinking red wine in the corner, and my friend came up to me and she said, "You should do this in your act. You could be Puff the Magic Dragon." I said, "Wait, I could be Piff the Magic Dragon. You might have heard of my older brother, Steve." Came up with that joke there and then, and I was like, "That's such a good idea. I should try it." I tried it, and then instantly, because remember, I'd spent, 10 years maybe, learning how to be a magician. So I had all the tricks.
You hadn't been mixing in the comedy yet.
No.
A whole lot.
Well, not intentionally. I've been saying this stuff that had just been getting me into trouble.
But it wasn't coming across to anybody's
wasn't-
comedy.
No,
Nobody was laughing.
Nobody was.
They were just getting ticked off.
Well, the other thing was, if you're doing a table,
Yeah.
if you're in a comedy club
Yeah.
for 100 people, you make half of them laugh, that's 50 people, and that's a big laugh. Even 30 people is okay out of 100.
Yeah.
If you're at a table of 7 and 3 of them laugh, 4 people are stonewalling you.
Yes.
That's bad.
Yeah.
So even though I was starting to do comedy in these, it was the wrong environment for comedy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it wasn't working out. So I had this idea and I tried it, and immediately overnight it solved. I had the skills to do the magic, and it solved the presentation. So now,
Awesome.
before I was just a dick, now I'm a dick in the dragon outfit. Hilarious.
Yeah.
So eventually I realized I had to leave my human origins behind, and fully commit to living as a dragon.
Yeah. You're a reptile.
Yeah. Reptile,
Reptiles
lizard.
are cold,
Yeah.
lean creatures.
Yeah, we're dead inside. And so I moved to the desert because it's perfect for a cold-blooded reptile like me.
Oh, yeah. They're all over around here.
So I found that once I'd found this thing to fit my persona, then it all took off.
It just,
but the only
that
thing
was
I
the
would
missing
say,
piece.
right, none of it was ever intentional. Because if it was, I would be a billionaire sitting on a yacht. Imagine if I could just come up with those ideas intentionally.
Right.
It was
You
all
just
just
kinda
a
run across
happy
them, right?
accident.
Yeah, but you had at least, I guess, the creativity to just experiment, right?
I believe desperation.
Okay, all right.
The desperation
just
to
walk
experiment.
Okay, well, that's awesome.
But that is also-
that is where the best innovations come from.
I think so. I've
Is out of a
often
place of
found-
desperation.
And I even maybe try and manufacture that a bit these days. Is that if I really don't know what to do, then I'll take away everything so that there needs to be a solution.
Yes.
And then you have to find a way to push through. If you have to do a show tomorrow night, you'll find some way of, getting on stage.
Yeah. A stand-up comedian, usually the model is to go to an open mic night and experiment with material, right? How does that process look for you?
Well, it's different because
Okay.
here's the thing, and I do there are times I have about 5 minutes of stand up in the show that I change in and change out a lot.
Okay.
So and I have to develop that. So I'm familiar with both processes. When you're developing stand up, you come up with an idea.
Right.
You go on stage pretty early in that process.
Yeah.
You maybe try and write out a couple of points. But often you want to get it on stage as quickly as you can, depending
Yes.
on what kind of, who you are as a writer. But with comics, often they try and get it out there immediately. But then you can see whether it has any legs, and if not, change it or abandon it, whatever.
Right.
With
This
magic,
is the process I'm talking about. Yeah.
with magic, you can't do that.
Right.
Because if I think, oh, wouldn't it be funny to vanish an elephant? Mm-hmm. You can't go on stage that night with an elephant. You have
Let's
to work
try this
out a
out.
way to make the elephant vanish.
Yeah.
And when I was, before I was a genuine mythical creature, I did a lot of consultancy for people where I would like help make up magic tricks for them. So I
Yes.
worked with the National Theatre in the UK, the guy called Heston Blumenthal, who's a super famous chef in the UK, and they would present these problems to me, and they say, well, we want to do this, and I would have to find a way to do it. And often they would, in all seriousness, look at me and say, well, can't we just isn't there some magic thing you can do? So like, we need to make a woman vanish from on stage, and I would be like, well, where are the trap doors? Where are the wings? Where's
Yes.
this? And they would say, well, can't we just make her vanish somehow? It's like, no. None of magic is real. It's just all lies and bullshit layered upon each other in such a way that you don't see that.
Right.
And
It's all misdirection and that kind of stuff.
yeah, but when you see it, people love it. It's like when you take a baby and you throw a baby in the air, the baby laughs.
Right.
Because the baby thinks they're going to die and they don't know what to do with that reaction. So they end up laughing, and then you catch the baby and the baby's like, okay. Magic's a bit like that. It's like you have not, things are happening.
I'm really glad to know what's going on in the baby's head now.
That's what it is. That's a fact. You learned something today. It was worth it.
Uh-huh.
But it's the same thing with magic. You do something, people have no idea how to react, and so you sort of it's a disruption.
Yes.
On their everyday experience. So that's like the benefit of doing magic, but the problem is that you have to do the impossible every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So there's a big process at the beginning of magic, which can take anything from a day to a year or even longer. And there are tricks that I have the idea for, but I still don't have the method for.
Okay.
So once you have that method, then you can take it on stage, and often you take it on stage and it just never goes anywhere because the audience don't connect to it.
Right.
Just like a joke. You might think of a joke, take it on stage, but at least with comedy you find out that night.
That's right.
Whereas with magic, you normally sink thousands of dollars into it.
You have to perfect it first.
Not really perfect it. You have to get it so it's presentable.
Okay. Yeah.
And
Whereas
often,
part of getting it to a presentable point with comedy is actually putting it out there in front of people.
actually,
right?
that's not even that true. Other magicians, they can perfect things and then bring them to stage, because often they'll do something in silent. They'll do a silent piece to music or whatever.
Yeah.
But for me, because I, like you say, do a lot of comedy.
Yeah.
Then I only get it presentable, because then I want to still give it that play to shape it in front of an audience.
That's awesome.
Like a joke.
How often are these ideas coming to you for different
I just
tricks?
had one right now. Oh, there's another one. I've just said 7 while we were speaking.
Okay.
I don't know. We probably make 3 or 4 good tricks a year.
Okay.
And that's a 5 to 10 minute piece.
Wow.
We just did this thing on America's Got Talent, the Champions Edition.
But you've got a lot more ideas than that. These are the number that you actually hone in and make a reality, like you said, where you're going to invest and spend the thousands of dollars figuring out the method.
Yeah, but there aren't that many good ideas.
Okay.
Where I'm like, oh, that's a really good idea.
You're just...
So one of the things that...
So you have a narrowing process.
Right. This thing I did for that Champions thing, I did this thing where the dog eats a ring.
Yeah.
And you can Google it. And then he lays an egg, and then the ring is in the egg.
Yes.
So that came in tiny, small fragments. So if you're talking about ideas, that came as wouldn't it be funny if I had a ring and I was trying to get the dog to lick it, and then I covered it in dog food and the dog ate the whole thing. So that's the seed of the idea. But then it's how does the ring come back? And eventually there's a trick where you have a bag and you show it empty in many ways, and then an egg appears in it. So then it became, what if the dog laid an egg using that trick?
Yeah, it's fun.
Then it was that trick looks like a magic trick. So it was what if we remade that trick with a doggy poop bag? And then finally, it was how do we make the ring, come out of the egg? So that, and that took 2 years. So it's difficult when you say you have more idea. Sometimes it's about bringing in different ideas from all over the place. Sometimes it's about or the idea isn't a fully formed idea. It's like it's just a small moment, but that's not enough to build a trick around it.
Right. That's cool. That's a really fun process. Do you mind if I ask you some marketing questions now?
No.
So you have
Wait, hang on. I've got to get back to my podcast post.
So America's Got Talent. You had a good run there. Obviously, you blew up. Social media exploded. You had some 100 million views right now over that.
Well, it's difficult to tell because of Facebook now.
But you've got your YouTube.
Many views.
Yes.
We've had more than enough.
Right.
Well, let me tell you something. I'm trying to listen to your question, but I'm not able to feign the interest. So let me tell you this thing about before I went on America's Got Talent, because I think it's going to tie nicely into what you're scrabbling around in the dark for.
Okay.
I moved to Las Vegas in November 2013
Okay.
to do a show at the Cosmopolitan.
Okay.
And I was a small part of a much bigger show.
Mm-hmm.
And I signed a 10-year contract that I had to work 3 of those years. And then I could employ another dragon as like my older brother Steve or something.
Okay.
And so if I didn't want to, I could farm it out for 7 years. So I made a big decision to move my life to America and specifically Las Vegas after having like come over here many times and like gone, this is where I want to live now. So that was now I'm here. Day one, I walk into the rehearsals and I realize immediately that this is going to be a disaster. Because I'm just a small cog in a large machine and the large machine is a shit show. So I, day 2, start applying for my green card.
Okay.
Because I want to stay here. That's why I signed a 10-year contract. So then I apply for my green card. 7 months later or something, 8 months later, I get the note saying, congratulations, you've made it. And the very next day, they closed the show.
Holy
so now I'm in America. Nobody knows who I am. 0 people. And I've spent like 7 years, maybe 6 years at that time, building up Piff in the UK. Mm-hmm. And I was like a headliner in the UK, but it's a very different business. So...
yeah, because you were performing with Mumford & Sons.
Right, yeah. So I was doing all this sort of stuff, but it wasn't really like... it was going fine, but I sort of felt like I was sort of hitting a ceiling. So I'd come out here and I'm like, this is the plan. Then it all like went to shit. Now, I was like, okay, what do I do from here? How do I, become, like even earn a living? So then I spent a year trying to get a show in various casinos, getting very close, never quite getting over it. And eventually I looked at America's Got Talent and I was like, this is a way to get national exposure.
Yeah.
Because it used to be back in the day, there was the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson.
Right.
So someone like Lance Burton, you know who that is?
No, I don't know.
He was a big magician in the 80s and 90s in
Okay.
Vegas. He was like one of the big headliners on a strip. He used to have a show at the Monte Carlo.
Okay.
Big production show on the same scale as Copperfield and Penn and Teller.
Yeah.
So he went on Johnny Carson as a 19-year-old or something like that, and that made his career overnight. He got booked for 2 years in Vegas, and that was the start of his career. That doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
That thing of like, because that was a day when 60 million people or however many million people used to watch that show.
Right.
Now if you go on something like the Tonight Show, then you might get a million people watching.
Maybe.
You don't make that same impact.
Right.
So I looked around and I saw America's Got Talent. The other thing I saw was that in Las Vegas, Terry Fator was there at the time, and now Matt Franco, and they had these posters, Terry Fator, the winner of America's Got Talent. And I thought, wouldn't it be funny to have Piff the Magic Dragon, the loser of America's Got Talent?
Turns out it is funny.
Hilarious.
And it's very sticky. It's very memorable.
Yeah, it's memorable. So I thought, what if I go on America's Got Talent, I try and get all the way to the finals, and then I try and go down in flames and lose, and then open a show called Piff the Magic Dragon, the loser of America's Got Talent. The other thing is, as a comedian, there's nothing funny about winning. Like, you can't have if you look at like movies or sitcoms especially, those characters never get what they want. Because if they get what they want, the story ends.
So you mean to tell me
Yes.
you never planned on winning?
Yes, I actually did the opposite. Much to the to the astonishment and often frustration of the producers of America's Got Talent.
You never had any intentions of taking it all away.
No, in fact, I had the opposite. It was the first idea. I was going to get to the finals and do a trick where I would vanish from stage, and then they would cut to the back of the theatre, and I would tell the producers that I was at the back. I would then appear. But instead, I would just run away and have a cardboard cutout saying, "See you in Las Vegas." However, the producers of America's Got Talent turned out to be the nicest people that I've ever worked with in television.
Oh, no.
And I was like, oh, well, I can't do this. This would be a massive
This would be
dick.
low.
Yeah. So I said to them, guys, I don't want to win this show. You know, you guys have been amazing in what they loved working with my act as well, because it wasn't the usual, like, sub-story or whatever, you know. So I said, guys, you've been so great, but I just don't want to, not my brand to win this show or anything. It's not good for me, it's just not, like, I'm not the guy to win. So I want to find a way to do something funny in the finals. And they said, so I talked them through this idea, and they said, well, if you do that, you're going to upset all these people who have voted for you, because these people have supported you, and they could have supported anyone else, and you don't want to like throw that in their face. And I realized they were correct. It was 100% true. And I'd done this thing on the quarterfinals where we had a magic trick with Mr. Piffles, where he was in a box, and we said, here are 4 boxes. One of them is Mr. Piffles.
You bring out Howie.
We destroyed we destroyed 3 of the boxes, and then we opened up the box, and he was safe and sound. Spoiler alert, he was never in a box, because that would be insane. It's a chihuahua. And so you're not going to like put a live animal like 20 feet in the air and then start destroying all the other boxes.
Yeah.
But we remade the trick for America's Got Talent, and it ended up looking much better than it ever did. And in fact, it became almost too convincing, so it really looked like the dog was in the box.
Yeah, it did. I've seen it.
Yeah. And then the other thing was that originally and that was a bit from my show that I used to perform as Dog or No Dog, like Deal or No Deal.
Yeah.
Which is why I did it with Howie, but they wanted to rebrand it because they'd done a Deal or No Deal thing a couple of years ago. So they rebranded it as this Game of Thrones thing. So then you got like all the fire and all the swords, and then it sort of became darker, and it didn't have the light tone it needed for like a game show piece.
I get you.
So that was the first and only time that they ever really interfered with my act, and then they were like, okay, well obviously we should just let you do whatever you want.
Yeah.
But I got a lot of what do you call it? Like when people like kick back or
just push back.
Yeah, like people like got all upset with me and started like they got angry, and like Heidi was angry about the dog being in the box, and I was like, oh my god, you're kidding me. Guys, it's a magic trick, guys. It's a magic trick. But then I thought, well wait, I could shoot Piffles out of a cannon, and no one's going to vote for somebody who shoots a dog out of a cannon. So I did that, went down in flames. The next day flew back to Las Vegas and opened a show in the Flamingo 2 weeks later. And billboards everywhere.
Loser.
Now, if you're driving through Las Vegas, billboards everywhere. Piff the Magic Dragon, the loser of America's Got Talent.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's awesome.
So that's something I intentionally did. And then all of the other stuff, like the Facebook thing, it's like by being on a platform like America's Got Talent, and by thinking about like the story I could tell on that platform, and the tricks we could do and all of that sort of then got the following second.
Yeah. That's
so does
amazing.
that help you answer the question that you were clutching at like a small straw?
Yes, it does actually. It answers more than one question.
What a nice dragon. What a nice alpha dragon.
My question on your marketing prowess, which you've demonstrated very clearly, but also on your moment in your life where you've taken something from poop to gold, where you've gone from a crappy situation and turned it into something spectacular. The green card. You talked about the whole green card story.
Well, here's something that happened to me early on.
Let
me tell you a story that happened early on. So once upon a time, there was a show in Blackpool, which is They say it's like the Las Vegas of England, which is very misleading, because it's quite a shithole. Anyway, there was a show that I wanted to do in Blackpool, and I really wanted to do it, and I like pursued the guy who was booking it, like made a big effort to do it, and it didn't happen.
Okay.
He said to me, "No, I'm not booking you," and I was super disappointed. Then a couple months later, I got a gig in Australia, doing like 2 weeks or something.
Yeah.
Doing my show for 2 weeks, and I wouldn't have been able to do that gig in Australia if I'd have got the Blackpool thing. And I was like, "Hey, maybe I shouldn't worry about the ups and downs of the daily thing, because in the big picture, who knows?"
Yeah, that's right.
And there's that Chinese, the Chinese proverb, there's an old man.
Okay.
Don't know why he's old. Don't know why he's a man. But he's old and he's a man. Lives in China. In this story. So, one day, he runs a farm. One day, his horse, I don't know why he's got a horse when he runs a farm, but anyway, this horse runs off into the woods. And his next door neighbor comes up to him and says, "Oh, that's terrible that your horse just ran off." And he says, "Well, maybe it's good, maybe it's bad, who knows." The next day, the horse comes back with a bunch of new friends. Like 20 other horses, let's say. And the villager is like, "Oh my God, the horse came back with all these new horses.
Yeah.
Now you're rich. You got 21 horses."
Yeah.
The guy's like, "Well, good or bad, who knows?" The next day, this all happened in a week. The next day, the son, remember, he had a son, is training the new horses. He falls off a horse, breaks his leg, can't work anymore. The villager's like, "Oh, it's terrible. Your son just broke his leg or neck or whatever." And the old man goes, good or bad, who knows? The next day, the army comes, says, "Hey, we're taking all of the sons to the army to fight this war." His son can't go. He's got a broken leg.
Yeah.
So, I'm not sure what happened the rest of the week.
Okay.
Given how
But
it
do we
went,
need
Friday,
to know?
Saturday, and Sunday was not going to be good.
Yeah, it was not going to be
But-
good.
and that's what I've
There's a ton of wisdom in that.
That's what I've learned over there. Yes, there is. You don't have to explain there's wisdom. Oh my. God. No. Hey, should we finish it with the magic trick?
Yes, absolutely. That would be amazing.
All right.
It's also dubstep.
Mr. Piffles is going to do a magic trick. Let's see what's in here.
Here we go.
I need a pen. Oh, there's a pen. Remember that was surprisingly effective. And you can have these playing cards
Oh, thank you.
for a very reasonable price.
$13.
No, you can have them in exchange for the book.
Okay.
Now, these playing cards, as I said, have got pictures of... What are you looking at? Can you sense evil? These have got... instead of clubs, we've got puppy feet.
Okay.
Instead of hearts, we've got flowers.
Gotcha.
Diamonds. Didn't have anything else for that. And instead of spades, we've got flames.
Okay.
So you can choose any one of these cards, any one you like. That's it. And then there's a little... Get rid of that magic trick there. That's for you for later. Any one of those. That's the deck bit. This is
Okay.
like some toast and some cheese and some ham.
I'm going to pick from one of
If you
these
want to
at
make
random.
a sandwich. That's it. You don't have to explain the random bit.
And am I supposed to show you the card or not? That's my real question. Okay.
Write your name on the front of the playing card.
Okay. So
Mr.
I don't even have to remember. I just have to write my name on it, right?
God, this is a lost cause. You ready?
I'm ready.
Thank you so much. Anywhere back in the deck. It doesn't matter. If it mattered, I wouldn't give you the choice, all right? Always remember that in Magic. We're gonna show the card here so everybody gets to see it.
Okay.
All right, you remember it? Mm-hmm. Now, Mr. Piffles is going to attempt to find your card for you.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
It may look like he's sleeping right now. He's not. He's in a zen-like trance.
He's terribly good at magic, I guess.
Yeah, he's in a zen-like trance. We're going to pass the cards above the dog's aura. One of the cards rises all the way up. Did you write on it?
I did write on it. Not on that one, though.
Can we edit this? Can we just cut this? You've ruined this. All right,
No.
take the card.
Okay.
You're gonna take it. You're gonna hold it on the dog's head.
Okay.
That's it. You're gonna rub it on the little dog's head. Come on, rub the card. That's it. Take a look.
Oh my gosh.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Three of Flames.
Very well done.
Very well done.
What do you want me to say?
God.
Is there a better...
Piff the Magic Dragon. Very well done. Let's get it on the resume.
Remember to subscribe, like, comment, share, all that good stuff. If you have interest in the book, HarmonBrothersBook.com, PiffTheMagicDragon.com, and it's been a lot of fun. Okay, thanks, guys. We'll see you on the next one.